welcome back to the Raptors Wrap-Up podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Lingam. Man, what a game last night. The Boston Celtics hosted the Toronto Raptors in a doozy of a match. Both teams went back and forth. Any team could have pulled out this one. But Boston came up on top, 110-99, with tempers flaring at the end of the game. Marcus Morris was thrown out. CJ Miles picked up a technical. Serge Ibaka was also mixing up in there. Pretty testy physical battle. Raptors go cold down the stretch and turn the ball over carelessly in that deciding fourth quarter where the Celtics just took advantage. Boston Celtics, Brad Stevens coached one heck of a game. Dwayne Casey was just trying to look for some sort of offense, somebody to provide him some offense because CJ Miles was cold. I think that was probably CJ Miles' worst game as a Raptor. 0 for 5 from 3, 4 turnovers, 5 fouls. Just a bad overall night for CJ. Norman Powell was okay in the minutes he was playing. Van Vliet was alright as well, but the thing was the defense. After the second quarter, the Raptors could not stop the Boston Celtics. They were executing well, and so were the Raptors to their point. They played great offense in this game up until midway third and about the fourth quarter when their three-point shooting just wasn't there. Raptors shot 7 of 30 from 3 at a point, and it was not looking good. The Celtics were able to take advantage of the Raptors' turnovers and score on the break. Terry Rozier, Marcus Morris, and Jason Tatum were the 3 key factors in helping the Boston Celtics win this one. The Raptors let Aaron Baines get off to a 12-point first quarter, which pretty much set the tone for the Celtics. Everybody else just started chipping in after that. Marcus Morris abused the mismatches that he saw on in the fourth quarter. Serge Ibaka picks up his 5th foul, which I felt was the turning point of this game. Without Serge Ibaka on the floor, Marcus Morris went to work. JB can't guard him in space, so Marcus Morris took either 3 or just drove right past him. And then Siakam's way too weak. Marcus Morris just overpowered him in the post. So it was a mismatch of all sorts in that game. Jason Tatum was taking care of the smaller Raptor guards. Van Vliet, Dylan Wright, they could not keep up with his length and athleticism. OG played well, but he's still learning these ways around the league. The Raptors did play a good game, just unfortunate they couldn't come out with it. DeRozan ended up with 32, 7 and 7, solid game. Didn't manage to hit a 3 in this game, however. Went 0 of 5 from 3. Even one of those baskets would have been huge. Kyle Lowry struggled scoring. He went 4 of 12 from the field. Just overall, not the greatest offensive night for the Raptors. But the turnovers, the three-point shooting, 2 things they definitely need to work on. Against a team that does not have its 2 best players, arguably, in both Hayward and Kyrie Irving, and a key contributor in Marcus Smart. The Raptors should have won this game, and Vegas predicted the Raptors to win by 4 points, but I think positive. Take what you can from this game and move on to the next one. The Raptors do face the Boston Celtics coming up this week as well, along with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, recapping what happened since the last podcast, the Raptors faced 5 other teams in that gap. They faced off against the Orlando Magic, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Brooklyn Nets, the LA Clippers, and the Denver Nuggets. They went 3-2 in those games, where the Raptors won the game in Orlando. DeMar DeRozan was resting with the thigh injury, but he played against Cleveland. It was a back-to-back. Raptors flew into Cleveland from Orlando. Raptors were able to win the Orlando game 93-86. It was tight, though. The Raptors didn't play well until the fourth quarter, where they eventually closed them out. Now, talking about the other games that the Raptors played, the Cleveland Cavaliers, which everyone probably heard on social media, LeBron James had a monster game, 35 points with 17 assists with 0 turnovers. Historic night to say the least. He dropped 35 easily. Pascal Siakam being the only one that provided some sort of resistance against LeBron's overpowering strength. OG was taken off the dribble multiple times in the first quarter and wasn't looking like he was going to do any impact to slow down LeBron James. Then his passing just took over. The shooters were lights out. Jose Calderon, Kevin Love, Jeff Green, J.R. Smith, and last but not least, George Hill, who went 10 of 11 from the field. Every single Cleveland Cavaliers player was hitting their shot from three-point land. Whether the Raptors contested it or not, the Cleveland Cavaliers went up 15 of 24 from the outside. You're not going to win a game when you face a team shooting 62% from the outside. Raptors did their best. They put up 129 points to their credit, but allowing 132 points, you're not going to win many games that way. The Raptors had a chance to close out this game, maybe bring it close, but the last play of the game, the dagger, where LeBron gets a pick and roll from George Hill at the top. Van Vliet has to stick to George Hill, who has been on fire the entire game. Pascal Siakam gets stuck on the screen. LeBron turns the corner, has open space, runs in, finds Kevin Love in the corner because Serge Ibaka had to help. And Kevin Love, as he usually does, knocks it down. He's been playing great as of late, as soon as he came back from injury. Sweet shooter, great touch, great rebounder. Plus, the Raptors could not go small ball on the Cavaliers either, because Kevin Love, he could take advantage of both. He could either play the post game, or he could also play the outside game. He's great at both. And the Raptors could not take advantage of Kevin Love's soft defense in this one. So that was another loss, knock it down the list. Social media went crazy. Raptors, baby dinosaurs. These guys they can't step it up in the playoffs. It's all sorts of stories. You just wash it away. Just gotta work towards the next one. The Raptors face the Cavs next, so this was a game to look back on and take some pointers of what worked and what didn't work. Then you got Brooklyn. Raptors played Brooklyn tough as well. Brooklyn came out to play. They weren't playing around like a team that's at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Raptors dropped 116 points to win this one just by 4 points. Brooklyn were tough. D'Angelo Russell, Alan Krabs, Spencer Dinwiddie, the guys were playing tough. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson gave the Raptors tons of trouble. Left-handed, power forward, agile, able to just move in the lane very easily off the pick and roll. Got to work early and often. Now the Brooklyn Nets didn't go to Rondé as much as they should have in the fourth quarter, and the Raptors took advantage and sealed this one away with some defensive stops near the end of the game. Then you had the LA Clippers. The Raptors went back home to face LA, and Raptors facing off against the LA Clippers, a top 10 offense, and stats are proving that the Raptors do not play that well defensively against a top 10 offense, which kind of makes sense, but not as bad as people expect. The Raptors are actually ranked 29th when facing a top 10 offense, just behind Cleveland, actually. And this was a stat provided by John Schumann, and it showed. The Raptors allowed them to get anything they wanted in that fourth quarter. The Raptors were blown out 117-106 at home, but it should have been 117-103. Van Vliet hit a meaningless three at this point, at the end of the buzzer, to make the score a little more respectable, but it was already too late. The Raptors got smacked in that fourth quarter. Lou Williams went to work, just dominated that fourth quarter. Sweet Lou leads the NBA in fourth quarter scoring, and for a good reason. He averages 7.7 points per game in the fourth quarter, and he dropped 18 on the Raptors. Just unstoppable. You put Norman Powell, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Van Vliet. Nobody can stop him. His step back, the way he angles himself in the lane and ones, floaters. The man is a professional scorer, and he took us to school. The ex-Raptor got his revenge and just killed the Raptors in this one. The Clippers just came out more hungry and wanted to win more. They have more on the line as well, since the Clippers are trying to fight for the playoff spot. The Raptors got to take these games more seriously, because if losing all these games could make them lose that first seed that they need for the playoffs. The Raptors do have the best home record in the NBA, but if they lose the first seed, they could face against a conference finals opponent like Boston, and Boston could have the home court, which would be bad, since the home team has won all the games in the Boston Raptors series. So home court is important. And last but not least, the Raptors bounced back against the Denver Nuggets, 114-110. Good win. Score doesn't do it justice. The Denver Nuggets hit a barrage of threes, highly contested threes near the end of the game to make it seem like more of a close game. But midway through the fourth quarter, the Raptors took it away. A better defensive effort in this one. Multiple efforts. The Raptors were great on offense. And Casey went with a hot hand in this one. He went with the bench lineup without CJ Miles. Instead, he put Kyle Lowry, and it was effective. Siakam played great. I would say he's a player of the game in that one. Just able to defend multiple positions in Paul Millsap and Nikola Jokic, who did his damage early against Ibaka and JV. Sweet touch, man. That's a talented young guy, man. 3-pointers, passing ability, ball handling. He's got it all. Offensively, he's amazing. Defensively, he's still slow, like a young JV. And the Raptors definitely exposed him with Siakam's quickness in that fourth quarter. And the Raptors escaped with the win against a Denver Nuggets team, which is starting to slow down a little bit. They're in the 9th spot right now, but they definitely needed this win. And they weren't able to get it. But the Denver Nuggets were coming off a back-to-back, so they lost to Philly the day before. They got smacked. So they were looking to come into the Raptors arena and pretty much a little sort of desperation to try and win this one. They were kind of hungry for it, but a valiant effort from them. But they just couldn't put it together. So let's follow up with what's going on around the league. The Warriors, man. The Warriors have, I don't even know who's playing anymore. Their 4 stars are all injured. Recently, Steph Curry came back, but Steph Curry, tragically, JaVale McGee ends up falling into Steph Curry's knee, MCL sprain. He's out for the first round for sure, Steve Kerr said, and probably going to miss a couple games in the second round, it seems like. And without Steph Curry, it falls on Kevin Durant to carry the load. Klay Thompson should be back later on, and Draymond Green, I'm not sure when he's going to be back, but Golden State is in trouble. They're definitely not getting the first seed no more. I believe the Rockets already clinched the first seed in the West. So now it's all about getting their health and getting a rhythm back. Because the Golden State Warriors haven't been playing well as of late, and they've been losing to bad teams. Injuries are a big reason for that, but it looks like the West is wide open, and whoever can win the championship this year, it could be anybody. Golden State is the favorite, don't get me wrong, but if they're not healthy, I don't see how Houston or maybe OKC or the Spurs coming out with this one out of the West. And everything else that's going on in the league, we got in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia is on fire lately. They've been playing well, and they have the easiest schedule in the NBA remaining. So Right now they were sitting in the fourth spot behind Cleveland, but I expect them to take that third spot. So that would mean Cleveland will fall to the fourth spot. They play the 19th easiest schedule. So Cleveland is definitely going to lose a few games here and there. And Cleveland definitely might be the team that we face in the second round, it looks like. So the Raptors definitely have to be prepared. Joel Embiid recently got elbowed and got a facial injury. So he's expected to be out for the rest of the regular season and might miss a game or two in the first round. So the 76ers are in a bit of trouble as well. The league is going down like flies. Tons of players are getting injured each day. Just now I just saw the Patrick McCaw injury. Terrible, man. Vince Carter gets caught trying to contest Patrick McCaw when he's up in the air and nicks him slightly on the knee or on the leg, and Patrick McCaw falls awkwardly to the ground, and terrible fall. Ends up rolling on the floor in pain. Had to be stretchered off. You saw Vince Carter in tears after just knowing that it was a terrible play that he committed, and Steve Kerr was livid on the sideline. He was screaming, "I'm not mad at you, ref. I'm mad at Vince. He knows better." And Vince, with his hands on his knees, could not get away from the play. He was in tears watching Patrick McCaw getting stretchered off. Tough to see a young upcoming player get hurt. Hopefully he's okay and doesn't affect his the rest of his NBA career and future health. Prayers up to Patrick McCaw. And Kyrie Irving's apparently having a minor invasive knee surgery. So this Boston Celtics story is kind of weird. So he's going to be out 3 to 6 weeks, they're saying. 3 weeks would mean Kyrie Irving will come back, start the playoffs. Perfect for them. But 6 weeks would mean he would miss the entire first round. So the Boston Celtics would have to beat the likes of either the Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, and it looks like it's one of those two that's going to stay at the 7th or 8th spot. Everybody else seems like they're shifting higher and lower. So either of those teams could take Boston to 6 or 7 games. And don't get me wrong, Boston's playing amazing without Kyrie, but in the playoffs you're gonna be facing Giannis or the Miami Heat collected effort on a consistent basis, and people get to know your knacks and your weaknesses in a playoff series, the adjustments, and you need talent on the floor to win these games. You need your best players on the floor to help you win these games. Without Irving, it's gonna be tough. And then we have Washington. John Wall came back recently, and they destroyed the Charlotte Hornets. Great game for him to get back. He had 15 assists. He's gone back to John Wall of old. It looks like there'll be a tough out come playoff time. Brad Beal played well. Gortat played well. It looks like John Wall fit right back in. No problems, no hitches. Team is set. Perfect timing, to be honest. John Wall gets a few games under his belt before the playoffs begin, and it looks like they'll be ready. Then you have Cleveland. They were on fire recently, but then lost to the Miami Heat in a blowout. They still have some problems. Kevin Love got injured again. Unlucky, took an elbow to the face. His front teeth got nailed back. Nasty elbow from Jordan McKee from the Miami Heat. Inadvertent elbow, of course. It wasn't intentional, but Kevin Love is now in concussion protocol, so we don't know when he'll be back. LeBron James takes on the heavy load once again. Not that he can't do it, but he still doesn't have all his weapons. So he'll be carrying it on. They'll probably end up in the fourth seed, it looks like. So it'll be interesting to see if they face either Indiana or Philly. Philly might fall with Embiid out, but I expect them to stay at third seed. So it's probably Indiana they'll be facing. Good matchup for them. Indiana plays well. They're a good offensive team, one of the top 10. And defensively, they're not the worst. Miles Turner is one of the lead shot blockers in the NBA. So Oladipo plays good defense as well. Corey Joseph's solid defensively. Thaddeus Young. It's a good roster they have. Plus some shooting with Bojan Bogdanovic. Another good in Eastern Conference team that could do some that can make some noise come playoff time. Then the rest of the East is pretty much up in the air. 9 and below, the Detroit Pistons not really going anywhere. Doesn't look like they'll catch up to 8th spot. And Charlotte, gotta give a shout out to Kemba Walker and Dwight Howard, putting up monstrous numbers on a really bad team. Kemba Walker recently had, I believe, 46 points in about 28 minutes of action. He sat out that fourth quarter, and it was against Memphis Grizzlies. Just smacked him out of the water. Soft. Too easy. A 61-point loss. Doesn't happen often. And that was disgusting to see. But then you also had Dwight Howard drop a 30-30 game. 32 points, 30 rebounds against the Brooklyn Nets. And they needed all the rebounds and points they needed as the game was tight. It wasn't like he was just stat padding. They needed all those points and rebounds, and he was dominant once again. But it brings up the question, is Dwight Howard a Hall of Famer? To be honest, I would give him a Hall of Fame ballot. He's Defensive Player of the Year multiple times. Dunk champion, first team all defense. He was a dominant center. And took his 2009 Orlando Magic team to the finals, beating out LeBron James. Don't forget that. But honestly, the guy has so much talent, so much potential. Just wasn't able to utilize it after he left Orlando. Thanks in part to injuries, of course. He had multiple back injuries. It didn't work out in LA with Kobe. It didn't work out with James Harden in Houston. And I was just kind of bouncing around from the Hawks to the Hornets. It's not how you want a great player, a Hall of Fame player, to go down in when he retires. But the Charlotte Hornets definitely paid him $20 million plus, so he'll take that, and he'll be playing for the Charlotte Hornets for a while now. Then what we have coming up, the Raptors face off against, of course, you already saw the Boston Celtics, lost that one. We face off against Cleveland coming up, then face off against Boston at the ACC for a back-to-back. However, the Celtics will be coming off a back-to-back as well. Raptors better take care of business in this one because the home team won each of the 3 games between the two, and the Raptors are a good home team, and they need to separate to get a little bit of a gap between Boston, who was right on their heels for that first in the Eastern Conference seed. Now the Raptors face 4 playoff teams this week. They already faced Boston. You got Cleveland, you got Boston, and then you got Indiana. This is probably the Raptors' toughest 4-game stretch against Eastern Conference playoff previews, pretty much. The Raptors could face Indiana in the second round or Cleveland in the second round. And it's a tough test because you can either see Boston in the conference finals as well. You don't really know. So this is pretty much the path they're going to take if they're going to make it to the finals. So the Raptors better have their A game on. The Raptors should, win some of these games as the first seed. And the Raptors do have the potential to beat these teams. Just in the midst of a slump, they got to take care of business. I could see the Raptors losing one of these games. either to Cleveland or Boston on back-to-back, definitely should take care of Indiana. I see the Raptors going 2-1. Love to see it 3-0, but realistically, the Raptors haven't been playing that well. And LeBron James would lick his chops if he saw the Raptors coming in with that kind of defensive effort that they've been playing lately. And the Raptors better get some revenge after that slap that they got at the hand of the 35-point, 17 assist LeBron James. They better slow him down, because it doesn't look like in his 15th year he's slowing down any bit. And LeBron James will just pick it up another notch in the playoffs. So Raptors have to come prepared. No team is gonna let them take care of business like that. Each team is coming for their necks, and the Raptors got to be prepared. The franchise record in winning, so the Raptors have that in their minds as well. But Raptors definitely had to keep that first seed, and more than keeping the first seed, I would say the Raptors definitely have to go into the playoffs playing well, confidently on both the defensive end and on the offensive end. The shots will fall. Raptors, the shots will fall. Don't worry about that. The defensive end, your defense has to carry you through to the playoffs and through to the finals if you're going to get there. The defense wins championships, as everybody says. This team is great defensively. Top 5. It definitely can get better. They haven't been playing well lately, but the potential is there. The players are there. Everybody's healthy. So there is no reason for the Raptors to slack in the defensive end. That's a wrap for this week's Raptors Wrap-Up podcast. Like the link, like the podcast, subscribe, share. You can visit my site, RaptorsRapUp.wixsite.com/raps for post-game coverage, and check it out. It's I post every game, just what I thought about what the Raptors done, what Dwayne Casey was doing, and just where the Raptors are in this season. And that's it for this week's. Peace.